So, before I make this video, I want to make a few things clear. Fuck Trump, fuck MAGA, fuck ICE, fuck AI, and fuck Israel too. And I just want to make it clear that I don't believe in any of that bullshit. I don't want anyone thinking that I do, and I just want to make that clear. So, yeah. Now onto the video. Can you consume art done by MAGA or people who now support AI? Now, my short answer would be no, you can't, because why would you? It's not even good. I mean, have you seen any of this shit? It's terrible. But I think there's also, unfortunately, some level where I think we have to ask ourselves, is there a cutoff? Because I listen to a lot of older artists, and unfortunately, some of these artists have gone down that MAGA or AI route, which just sucks, but that's what they've done. And so I'm in conflict with this. The biggest one I came with was this band called Wasp. If you don't know who Wasp is, I don't blame you. But Wasp was this old heavy metal band from the 80s. And when Trump was doing his 2024 presidential run, Blackie Lawless, singer from Wasp, made his concert in Manhattan, or turned it into a Trump rally, which is very strange and genuinely. I don't know if you ever look at the video, it generally looks like some demonic shit. I don't know how else to explain it to you. I got a very bad feeling when I watched that video. It was very terrible, And the thing about Wasp was that they were never really a serious band. It was mostly the typical sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of thing for a little bit, and then they did get serious at some point with the Headless Children album. Well, I'm not usually the type of person to say that you should cut off people from based on their political beliefs. When it comes to extremists, I think you can make an exception. And when I discovered this, I stopped listening to Wasp for at least 2 years, or not 2 years, but at least over a year and a half. And then recently, I got that itch to listen to Wasp again. So I said, fuck it, because why not? Streaming doesn't really help artists that much. It's basically just exposure, and Wasp isn't going to get any exposure anytime soon. And then I was really into rediscovering some of those old records, and went ahead, I bought the first 2 CDs of theirs, and yeah, maybe I'm a hypocrite for that, but that's basically what happened. And so that was the biggest conflict for me. There are also other artists, Gene Simmons from Kiss is from Israel, is very much an Israel supporter, and Ace Frehley, really like all the original Kiss members, or really all the Kiss members in general, are at least Trump adjacent. There are other people too. Kiss was even worse for me because Kiss got me into playing guitar. Ace Frehley was my first guitar hero, and if I had not heard Kiss live, I would not have started playing guitar. So it was a huge sort of conflict for me when I discovered all this, and I wasn't really sure what to make of it. I wasn't really sure how to go about listening to their records or going to concerts. Actually, I didn't discover any of this until after they retired in 2023. Maybe it's on me for going to those concerts and not realizing that they would definitely come back again. It probably is on me, but fuck it. It was fun. Anyway, point is that a lot of artists, politically, I'm going to talk about the politics first before I get to the AI. But as far as the politics of certain people, I think that there's a big a big what do you call it, a big conflict of interest when you listen to the art for a long time, because it's different when you discover an artist and you discover that they're a shitty person, for the first time. When you discover this information years after you've listened to them and years after they've influenced you to the point where they've genuinely changed your life, like I said, I can't. Kiss is a hard one to just like get rid of entirely because they've influenced my life so much. But it's a very big conflict of interest. Should I get to the AI now? Let me get to the AI because it'll tie in. So AI, of course, the worst thing ever. It feels very much like some sort of weird demonic shit. I hate bringing religion into this because, I don't want to, make it all spiritual and whatnot. But, I feel like at some points you kind of just have to admit to some certain things being beyond just human. Yeah. And it just feels very weird. I used it a little bit, I'll admit, when it first came out because I was curious. And as time went on, I realized just how terrible it was, and I cut it off. So, yeah. I refuse to use that shit no matter what. At best, it's a glorified Google, and at worst, it's some evil surveillance state shit. So, you should genuinely and definitely not ever use it. But plenty of artists now use AI. The first artist that came to mind when I thought of this, when it came to AI, was Rob Halford from Judas Priest. If you don't know, Rob Halford posts a lot of AI pictures of himself with cats, and it was very much disappointing to me to discover Rob so very into AI. I mean, he really loves this shit, especially when it comes to cats. I don't know what it is with him and cats and AI, but there you go. And then another one was Queen, and Queen was more egregious because they used AI to touch up the first record they did in '73, which is the worst thing ever. I refuse to listen. I think I listened to the remix of Keep Yourself Alive when they did it, when they ruined the video by replacing the original audio with AI. Generally horrible. I hate it so much. And that was so much worse to me. And as time has gone on, more and more artists have used AI. And I'm firmly of the belief that post AI, when the artist discovers and decides they want to use AI, everything that comes after is irrelevant, basically. I also forgot Guns N' Roses. I love Guns N' Roses, but the general video that they did, complete AI. It was horrible. I don't understand why they did that. I think Guns N' Roses at least understood that their fans didn't like this shit, because it seems to me at least that they are not using. They have not used AI for their videos, their merch, nothing since then. But of course, I could be wrong. I have seen some posters that they posted on Instagram where I thought maybe, but you can let me know. But for the most part, I think they're good. I don't know. You have to let me know. I think they're okay, but I'm not sure. But like I said, there's a pre-AI artist and there's a post-AI artist, and I think it's okay to consume the stuff that the artist does pre-AI, but post-AI, not so. I think that's fair. I think when it comes to both politics, or MAGA, I should say, when it comes to MAGA and AI, I think the idea that I came to was that everything that came beforehand is still valid, but everything that came after is not. I think when I thought about Kiss and Wasp and Judas Priest and Guns N' Roses, I felt, all of the stuff they did beforehand, I can live with. If I want to listen to Kiss Alive, or Appetite for Destruction, or Screaming for Vengeance, it's cool. But anything after that, I'm out. And it's not just music too, movies too. Did you know Peter Jackson, the dude that made The Lord of the Rings, is a fan of AI? That was the worst for me too. I like those movies. Like, I could not believe that the dude that made fucking Lord of the Rings decided that AI was a good thing. I still cannot wrap my head around it. I can't figure how he came to that conclusion. But there you go. I mean, at the very least, I've only ever seen his Lord of the Rings stuff. Sorry. But, anything that he makes beyond whenever he decides to use AI, to me is invalid. Rest in peace. You made some good shit, but, we're out. I'm done with you. But yeah, that's basically how I looked at it. Is basically anything before the artist discovers AI is good, and anything after is bad. And of course, when it comes to anything before, it is of course subjective, depending on your taste. But if you have a brain, then when AI touches something, it's bad automatically. So there you go. I'm not really sure exactly if my decision is the right one per se, but it has been the best way for me to cope with the idea that I can still enjoy the stuff that I've enjoyed all these years and not feel any, I guess, sort of guilt over it. So long as there's no AI in it, I think it's fine. Or if the fascist policies that certain artists have adopted, are recent and haven't affected their art as of that point, then it's fine. Again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out ways to, keep listening to the stuff I enjoy without, supporting that kind of thing. But that's basically how I've tried to, I guess, circle around it. Yeah. I mean, it's not the best system, but I spent money on these records and merch and shows, and I'm not just gonna throw it all away just because, all this other stuff. I can't get that money back. And like I said, this was all beforehand. Before the MAGA stuff and before the AI stuff with these artists. So, I mean, am I really gonna get rid of Kiss Alive or Dress to Kill because Gene Simmons is a Zionist? I mean, do I really want it? I didn't know what Israel was before 2023. So why the hell would I care about what Gene was doing in 1975? Why would I care about Rob Halford using AI for cat videos if it hasn't, gotten into the records yet? It could happen, and I will not support Judas Priest if they continue to use, or if they decide to use AI in their records. Certainly not. And if Guns N' Roses decides ultimately that, they'll continue to use AI for, records and tours, although I don't think they've used it for tours, and I don't think they've used AI other than that music video. Like I said, I think they just used it for the video as an experiment and then decided that shit wasn't worth it. I'm not sure about Guns N' Roses at all whatsoever when it comes to AI. I know at the very least Duff seems to be okay with it, but the others, I think, have kind of just like abandoned that whole thing. So, like I said, I'm not sure with them, but I know at least as far as the artist, I am sure of that anything that came before, I'll continue to consume and listen to and watch. But anything that comes after, that can fuck off, basically. Um, that's basically where I stand with it. Again, am I right? I don't know, but it's been the best way for me to go about listening to this stuff that I've enjoyed all these years, and just don't want to just give up on a whim because it's so, I guess, attached to me. And yeah, I mean, have any of you ever had to come to terms with these things? And if so, how did you manage it? And is there really a right way to, I guess, go about this kind of thing? Or what? I don't know. I mean, I've already decided how I'm going to go about it. And, whether or not you think it's the right or wrong thing, I think it's the best thing for me. But I am interested in seeing how other people go about it when it comes to their favorite artists. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. See ya.